This is the true story of the greatest martial artist, a legend whose journey began at rock bottom. China, 1910. In the bustling city of Shanghai, an international martial arts competition captivates the crowd. Fighters from Britain, Belgium, Spain, and Japan face off against China's finest. Among the Chinese competitors, one stands out. A fighter known for his unmatched speed and precision. In his first bout, he takes down his opponent in under a minute, leaving the audience in awe. The second challenger fares no better, disarmed and frozen as the blade rests near his throat. The crowd roars with approval. The third match pushes him to his limits, but the victory is his once again. Finally, the most dangerous opponent steps forward, Tanaka, the undefeated Japanese master. As he prepares to face this final challenge, memories of the past come flooding back. Time slows and his mind drifts to his childhood in Tianjin. 30 years earlier, a different world, a different boy. In those early days, a curious young dreamer sneaks into a martial arts hall eager to learn the secrets of the fighters he admires so much. His heart races as he watches a master move with flawless precision. Every strike a work of art. But the moment of wonder ends abruptly when he's discovered. The man scolding him is none other than his father, a respected martial artist who makes it clear that training is off limits. The words cut deeply, leaving the boy confused and hurt. Refusing to give up, the determined boy begins training in secret. Using what he has observed, he practices outdoors, his movements mirroring the flowing rivers and swaying trees. His best friend Jinsen often covers for him, taking care of their schoolwork so the budding fighter can focus entirely on his craft. While Jinsen dedicates himself to perfecting calligraphy, he often reminds his friend that precision and discipline are the keys to mastery, no matter the skill. One day, the pair rushes to watch a major martial arts competition in the city center. In the arena, the boy's father faces Zhao, a formidable rival from a competing clan. The tension is electric as the two exchange powerful strikes, each movement a testament to their expertise. Standing nearby is Zhao's son, who taunts the boy mercilessly.
Your father doesn't have the courage to win.
The rival sneers, his voice dripping with smugness. The fight reaches its climax as the boy's father gains a clear advantage. The crowd leans forward, waiting for the final blow. But in a surprising turn, he hesitates. Instead of delivering the strike, he steps back, choosing mercy over victory. Zhao seizes the moment and claims the win. The audience murmurs in disbelief, and the boy's heart sinks. Beside him, the rival smirks, his taunts growing louder. Shaken and humiliated, the boy retreats to a quiet corner to cry. Jinsen finds him there, offering soft words of encouragement. But the peace doesn't last. Zhao's son appears once more, his words sharper than before.
Your father is weak. Your family name means nothing.
Anger replaces sadness as the boy decides to defend his family's honor. He challenges the rival to a fight, determined to prove himself. But reality strikes hard. He's no match for his opponent and is swiftly defeated. The humiliation stings, but the experience plants a powerful seed within him. In that moment of failure, a vow takes root, to rise stronger, to never feel powerless again. At home, the boy faces his father's stern judgment. Ordered to kneel, he braces for the whip of discipline. But just as his father raises his hand, his mother intervenes, pleading for mercy. She reminds her husband that their son has already endured enough punishment for one day. And, reluctantly, the man lowers the whip. Later, the boy turns to his mother for answers, desperate to understand why his father forbids him from learning wushu. Her voice is soft but firm as she explains that his father's refusal comes from love. His asthma makes the rigorous training too dangerous. The boy protests, insisting that martial arts will make him stronger and that he dreams of defeating Clan Zhao to restore their family's honor. His mother's response is measured. She reminds him that the essence of wushu is not revenge but discipline, a principle he must never forget. Years pass, and life reshapes the boy into a young man. The shadow of his father's values looms large, even after his passing. The young man grows into a skilled fighter, marries, and becomes a father himself. But tragedy strikes. He loses his wife and is left to raise his daughter alone. Despite these hardships, his ambition never wavers. His victories in the ring multiply, earning him fame and recognition as a wushu master. Yet his mother remains his quiet conscience, warning that his endless pursuit of victory is misguided. She tells him his greatest enemy isn't in the ring, but within himself. Her words fall on deaf ears, as his focus is set firmly on restoring the family's name, a mission he believes will fulfill his father's expectations. One day, a new match presents a familiar face, the grown man who once humiliated him in childhood. Determined to settle the score, the wushu master faces his rival atop a high wooden platform. The fight is precarious, the planks beneath them swaying with every move. Despite taunts and provocations from his opponent, the master remains composed. Mocking his rival's arrogance with sly confidence, he delivers a decisive victory. When he returns home, the community celebrates his triumph. Congratulations pour in, and his loyal friend Jinsen hosts a grand banquet in his honor at his restaurant. Amid the festivities, two young men approach, kneeling before the master and begging to become his students. Flattered, he welcomes them with open arms and invites them to join the feast, unaware of their true intentions. As the evening winds down, Jinsen introduces the master to a strange new drink. Curious, the master asks what it is, and Jinsen explains that it's coffee.
这叫咖啡.
Brought to China from Western nations. Their conversation takes a political turn, as Jinsen laments how their homeland has grown weak, increasingly overshadowed by foreign powers. The master listens indifferently, brushing off the tirade. His focus is singular, becoming the champion of Tianjin.
台上的生死跟你没关，你只不过看个乐。
His drive remains unshaken as he continues to dominate the ring, earning victories with effortless skill, often using just one hand. Over time, his fame grows, and a long line of aspiring students gathers at his doorstep. He accepts them all, on one condition: they must share a drink with him
大家就是兄弟，来吧。
to seal their commitment. Among the crowd, a quiet observer stands out, a young man with an enigmatic air. Approaching the master later, he utters a cryptic remark.
You've never fought, Master Chen.
The words linger in the master's mind. During yet another celebratory dinner at Jinsen's restaurant, tensions rise. Jinsen confronts the master about his careless behavior, pointing out that his students exploit his generosity, eating and drinking at Jinsen's expense. He warns the master to be more cautious about the people he surrounds himself with, but his advice is met with dismissal.
山西湖南。
The next day, trouble arrives at the master's doorstep. A group of students carries an injured comrade on a stretcher, accusing Master Chen of inflicting the wounds. Outraged, the master storms into Jinsen's restaurant, where Chen is celebrating his birthday. Despite Chen's polite refusal to fight, the master presses him, demanding either a duel or a public apology. Jinsen tries to mediate, begging his friend not to ruin the celebration or jeopardize their bond, but his pleas are ignored.
照价赔偿。
The master coldly promises to pay for any damages caused in the fight, leaving Jinsen deeply hurt and at a loss for words. The restaurant empties, leaving the two masters to face each other in a final duel. The clash is intense, every move showcasing their remarkable skill and determination. Both men push their limits, refusing to give up despite the intensity of their confrontation. Even when Chen's weapon breaks, he continues to defend himself with unwavering focus. The wushu master, overwhelmed by emotion, presses on until Chen is no longer able to continue. Chen's students quickly carry their exhausted master away, but the atmosphere of celebration has turned somber. The next morning, the wushu fighter learns from Jinsen that Chen's condition has worsened, leading to devastating news. What seemed like a victory now feels like a moment of irreversible loss. Not long after, further tragedy unfolds. The fighter receives word that his family is no longer safe, leaving him in a state of grief and uncertainty. Searching for answers, he goes to Chen's home, where the late master's godson admits his role in the events. Overcome by guilt, the young man makes a life-altering decision, leaving the fighter to process another wave of loss. Surrounded by the consequences of anger and vengeance, the wushu master chooses to break the cycle, sparing Chen's widow and child. Though his heart is heavy, he walks away, determined to find a new path forward. When he returns to his students, he learns the painful truth. One of them, in a moment of poor judgment, insulted Chen's family, setting off the chain of events. Betrayed and disillusioned, the master decides to leave Tianjin, stepping away from the life he once knew. Lost and searching for meaning, he begins to wander aimlessly. At his lowest point, he finds himself by a river, unsure of his next steps. But an elderly woman and her blind granddaughter Moon discover him and offer kindness and refuge, asking for nothing in return. Moon gently encourages him to join the villagers in their daily farming work. At first, his frustration and clumsiness make him a poor farmer. Impatient with the tasks, he often botches the planting. But one day, he notices that Moon quietly redoes his work without a word of complaint. The silent gesture carries a profound lesson. Harmony and respect are the foundations of a peaceful life. As seasons pass, the former fighter integrates into the community. He learns the rhythms of planting and harvesting rice, respecting the villagers' customs and traditions. In turn, he helps Moon and her grandmother with their chores, repaying their kindness. Amid the simplicity of rural life, he begins to heal. In his free time, he practices wushu in the tranquil fields, reconnecting with the art he once used to dominate others. Here, it becomes a source of balance and self-discovery. One quiet day, the grandmother mentions visiting their family's graves. The remark triggers memories of the family he lost, and the master decides it's time to pay his respects. Before leaving, he promises Moon he will return soon, assuring her the journey won't be long. By 1907, he arrives back in Tianjin, only to find it transformed. The streets are overrun with foreign influences. Westerners dictate policies, religion spreads aggressively, and the local population suffers under the weight of poverty. Disheartened but resolute, the master burns his trophies and symbols of victory in his old home, rejecting the empty glory that once consumed him. Standing at his parents' graves, he reflects on their teachings. At last, he understands the values they tried to instill in him, the importance of humility, honor, and responsibility. He promises his mother that he will never stray from their principles again and apologizes to his late daughter for failing her as a father. His resolve takes a new shape when he reads a local newspaper. The headline boasts of an American strongman, O'Brien, who has defeated all Chinese challengers, mocking them as Asian cripples and claiming no one in China dares to face him. Stirred by a sense of duty, the master knows what he must do. With newfound purpose, he decides to challenge O'Brien, determined to restore his country's pride and show the world the true strength of wushu. Huo, now resolute in his purpose, turns to Jin Sun for financial help to fund his trip to Shanghai. Jin Sun, still burdened by the memories of the destruction caused by Huo's past arrogance, initially refuses. Undeterred, Huo visits the home of the late Master Chen. Bowing deeply, he apologizes to Chen's widow, acknowledging the pain he caused her family and asking for her permission to honor her late husband's legacy. His humility and sincerity strike a chord. Later that evening, Huo is surprised by a messenger at his door. The funds he needs for his journey have arrived, anonymously sent by Jin Sun. The gesture, though silent, speaks volumes of their mended friendship. By 1909, Huo arrives in Shanghai to face the infamous American Hercules, O'Brien, a man of legend rumored to have moved trains with one hand and punched through the Great Wall. Towering over Huo at nearly double his size, the strongman is an imposing figure. Yet despite his bulk, O'Brien's movements are sluggish and predictable. A stark contrast to Huo's precision and agility. The crowd roars as the fight begins, with O'Brien throwing powerful but clumsy punches. Huo masterfully dodges each strike, tiring his opponent with calculated evasion. As the match nears its climax, the American crowd grows restless, their cheers turning to jeers. O'Brien, exhausted but defiant, refuses to admit defeat. In a final breathtaking maneuver, Huo flips the giant over the ropes. The strongman's massive frame teeters on the edge, his neck mere inches from a bed of sharp spikes below. The audience gasps in horror, expecting the worst, but instead of letting his opponent fall, Huo presses his foot against O'Brien's chest, holding him back from certain death. This act of mercy stuns the crowd into silence and earns O'Brien's respect. Recognizing Huo's superior skill and character, the strongman concedes defeat, raising Huo's hand in acknowledgement. News of Huo's victory spreads like wildfire, earning him acclaim not only in China but around the world. Returning to Tianjin, Huo calls for unity among wushu practitioners, emphasizing the importance of discipline and mutual respect over personal glory. His vision materializes with the founding of the Qinwu Athletic Federation, an institution dedicated to preserving and advancing martial arts in a rapidly changing world. Jin soon visits Huo to celebrate his achievement. But what impresses him more than the victory is the profound transformation in Huo's character. The once reckless fighter now radiates humility and self-control. For the first time, Huo declines the wine Jin-sun offers, choosing sobriety to honor his newfound clarity and purpose. Together, the old friends reflect on the challenges their country faces.
是你一生的心血。和你现在的抱负相比，
Jin soon reveals that he has abandoned his restaurant, deciding instead to stay in Shanghai and support Huo's mission. The two embark on a new chapter, training a growing number of eager students. Their teachings emphasize the unity of body, mind, and spirit, blending traditional wushu techniques with deeper philosophical lessons. However, their rising influence draws the ire of foreign powers. Members of the International Chamber of Commerce conspire to diminish China's pride, devising a plan to humiliate Huo on an international stage. They select 4 of the world's most formidable fighters, each representing a different nation, to challenge the overconfident Chinese master.
A competition of 4 matches.
The story circles back to the fight against Tanaka, the undefeated Japanese swordsman. The tension is palpable as the two warriors take their positions. Tanaka wields his katana with deadly precision, while Huo counters with a 3-section staff, demonstrating the artistry of their respective traditions. Their duel is a mesmerizing display of skill and strategy, with neither gaining a decisive advantage. At one point, they exchange weapons, testing each other's weaknesses. Huo notices a flaw in Tanaka's defense, but chooses not to exploit it. Instead, he returns the katana with a respectful bow, signaling his desire for an honorable match. The round ends in a draw, and the referee announces the final stage of the duel, barehanded combat. The fighters retreat briefly to recover. Huo sips a cup of tea, unaware of the treachery that awaits him. Refreshed, he steps back onto the tatami as the final showdown begins. The early moments of the fight favor Huo, his movements swift and controlled. But as the match progresses, he begins to falter. The crowd grows uneasy, puzzled by the sudden shift. Only Jin's son understands the gravity of the situation when Huo quietly confides in him. The tea was poisoned. The cup, now gone, leaves no trace of evidence. Despite Jin Sun's desperate pleas to seek medical help,
我们不打了。
Huo refuses, his voice calm but resolute. He knows it's too late. Huo's students, distraught by the poisoning and his worsening condition, beg him to let them take his place in the fight and seek revenge. However, he refuses firmly, reminding them that wushu is not about vengeance but honor. Despite the poison coursing through his veins, Huo decides to see the match through, upholding the values he spent his life rediscovering. Meanwhile, Tanaka, the undefeated Japanese swordsman, reluctantly returns to the tatami. He warns Huo that if they continue, he will not hold back. Huo, his voice steady despite his weakening body, thanks Tanaka for his honesty and accepts the terms with grace. The match resumes, and the toll of the poison is evident. Huo's legs tremble under him, his movement slower than before. Each strike he delivers seems to sap more of his remaining strength. Yet, he remains unwavering, using every ounce of skill and determination to counter Tanaka's relentless attacks. The crowd watches in stunned silence, aware they are witnessing something extraordinary. As the battle nears its conclusion, Huo finds himself in an ideal position to deliver a finishing blow, a precise strike to Tanaka's chest, a move that once brought down Master Chen. With a sudden burst of strength, he thrusts his fist forward, the air tense with anticipation. But just as the blow is about to land, he halts, his hand stopping inches from Tanaka's heart. Huo gazes into his opponent's eyes, his expression a silent testament to his respect for life and the principles of wushu. Exhausted, the man collapses onto the tatami. Tanaka, stunned by his opponent's mercy and integrity, kneels beside him. He realizes that Huo, despite having the chance to end the fight decisively, chose honor over victory. When the referee steps forward to declare Huo defeated, Tanaka interrupts, lifting Huo to his feet. With solemn dignity, he raises the hand high, acknowledging his courage, skill, and unwavering principles. The act earns thunderous applause from the audience, who now see Huo not just as a warrior, but as a legend. Moments later, the master succumbs to the poison. His students gather around him, tears streaming down their faces as they bid farewell to their master. Jin's son kneels beside his lifelong friend, holding his hand in silent grief. The room, once filled with the sound of clashing warriors, now falls quiet, honoring the fallen hero. In the final scene, Huo's spirit is seen under the vast starlit sky, moving gracefully through wushu forms. His beloved family, his parents, wife, and daughter, watch over him with pride and warmth. At peace, Huo continues his eternal journey, his legacy shining brightly in the hearts of those he left behind.